Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. In the headlines tonight, a presidential initiative designed to further empower the youth and women of the Gambia sends the price of cooking oil tumbling to a reasonable $5 per cup from an all-time high of $10. A top United Nations official visits Somalia to assess the situation in areas worst affected by famine. Egypt's Mubarak-era Interior Minister Habib al-Adli returns to a Cairo courtroom to face murder charges stemming from the handling of the 18-day protest that toppled the former president. And Libyan rebels poised to get a stranglehold on Colonel Muammar Gaddafi's supply lines to the south with the occupation of parts of the strategic town of Al-Zawiya. These stories and much more coming ahead in the news. I am Lamin Manga. We thank you for joining us. Parts of the Banjul coastline are being given another layer of protection thanks to an initiative spearheaded by the President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh. The planting of the special variety of palm trees which have also been planted on the President's Saro farm is expected to dovetail with the mixed farming technique and agricultural diversification being advocated by the President. Activities at the farm mirror the approach adopted by Kanilai family farms, which will not in the too distant future commence cultivating crops on the various farms owned and run by the Gambian leader. The President's Saro farm produces vegetables like onions, pumpkins, green pepper and others. The farm was also used during the last planting season to test the suitability and adaptability of various crops, which include the famous Gambinka rice variety, which has since made a remarkable comeback. The Saro tree planting exercise follows a similar one at State House. After paying $10 for a cup of cooking oil for a while, women can now buy the same oil for as low as $5 per cup. The scheme designed by President Jammeh to make cooking oil affordable is also empowering the youth and women of the country. We should bring you that story later in this bulletin. A 2.5-hectare maize farm cultivated by cabinet ministers in response to President Jammeh's back to the land call was on Sunday the scene of a weeding exercise. Aissatou Bajansar was in Jalangba to see the policymakers put their farming skills to the test. And this is her report.
Members of the executive arm of government at work at one of their farms cultivated this year. The 2.5-hectare maize farm is one of the two farms cultivated by cabinet ministers in their bid to contribute towards the realization of the country's food self-sufficiency drive. Cultivated barely a month ago, the ministers descended on the maize farm located in Jalamba village, ably held by the people of the community to rid it of weeds. Lamin Bajo was among those tasked by the team of ministers to spearhead the initiative, and he expressed his impression of the state of the cabinet minister's farm.
As per the directives of His Excellency President, that cabinet should acquire cabinet farm or farms this year, at least to lead by example, because we've been clamoring for back to the land for the past 16, 17 years, and almost every sector of the society having their communal farms. So he said it's time. He is aware that some members have their individual farms. Almost every cabinet member has a farm somewhere, but he really wanted to see a cabinet farm. Vic is a member, he's the head of the cabinet, so he's part of from himself to the vice president to the secretary of cabinet.
Cabinet farm, of course, it could be looked into more symbolic than, real cabinet coming in day out to do what the normal routine for farmers are. But you could see the solidarity from the community, and now we've already said that to them, that when we say cabinet farm, of course, is just being here, but we know they're the one who's doing much of the work, and we thank them for that.
Sheriff Gomez also seized the opportunity to express his impression of the youth farms across the country.
When we went out in the beginning was that we get young people rally behind us. The turnout, the response was good. The engagement currently is very, very encouraging, and we hope we'll push it to the limits so that we achieve at least 60% of our expectations in the farm. Minimum 60% would meet our expectation for the first year.
The farm manager Adam Manyasi and the alkali of Jalamba both commended the indigents of the community for helping the ministers in the farm work, whilst expressing optimism of a high yield. From the 2.5 hectare maize field, the team of ministers visited their 2.8 hectare Findi farm. The reason for the cultivation of the Findi farm, according to the Basic and Secondary Education Minister, is to encourage Gambians to cultivate the less labor-intensive crop.
Interestingly, one, because it's less labor-intensive, and some of us don't have the time to be here all the time. That's one reason. The other reason is, when we were on tour, we found out that a bag of Findi is going for $4,000. Yes. So that means with less labor, you can make a lot of money.
With hoes and some on the plows, the ministers work diligently on their farm, an activity that they hardly engage in due to other national duties. The ministers, however, are of the belief that with commitment and dedication, coupled with everyone pulling efforts in the same direction, the country's food self-sufficiency drive could be a reality. Aissatou Badiansar, GRTS.
Dealers in textile make good sales in the run-up to festive occasions like the fast-approaching Eid prayers. Bargain hunters from far and near seeking to capitalize on the price reductions troop to markets to buy fabric. GRTS's Aissatou Dabo visited the famous Serekunda market to test the pulse of the textile trade, and she now reports.
Elegant materials are one of the things people look forward to buying when festive occasions are approaching. From the look of things at stores at the Serekunda market, it seems as if shiny fabric is all there is to buy. Of late, concerns have been raised over skyrocketing prices of food items, but according to dealers in textile, the situation is different for them.
Piece indiani mom deng na wañu ko ndax legi fu mu nek ni dafa xawa ki bari ci dekk bi waye yenen piece mom comme côté piece xam nga côté desiya mom amul bariwul mo tay de taxay yenen bassin ak mana ak yenen different kind dal day deng na cherante dal legi waye fu mu nek ni ñu ngi try pour ñu gëna wañu price dal en try desi war koor mi mom xam nga war koor ñun yépp ñen ko wara yop wara yermanentele dal den wara def price bu mu ciib dal.
Most of these dealers in textile business say most of the items on sale come from Dubai, China, Hong Kong and India. The prices, they say, is not determined by their country of importation.
What we are preparing is for the auction time. We have some materials coming up from Dubai, but it's not yet here because it's too late at this moment. But anyway, we are preparing ourselves, and we have some new materials here called silk. They are called oilfall in Olaf, but normally women do like it anyway. There are new materials in town.
Like any other form of business, dealers in textile also sell their old stock at cheaper cost when new trendy stocks are in the market.
They are cheaper at this moment. Yeah, these glitters are. The last prices we have and these ones are not the same. These ones are less cheaper than the other ones we have the last year. Anyway, yeah. We have some materials here which are in bulk, so we have to less the price so that people can buy it. Because last year our prices were so high that people were running away from it. Anyway, but this year we've.
Sajo Jame was spotted shopping for her daughter at the Serekunda market. In an interview with GRTS, she expressed satisfaction with the cost of materials at this time of the year.
Alhamdulillah rabbi alamin ngaji be de la bagasol be tata bigos naman ke salo nyaati ngoti nyunu da ka serle bar saya fele salo kana si price ol be tala.
With different types of fabric for different outfits on sale, people can be at ease to shop without worrying about cost. Well, depending on what you want. One question that would remain in people's minds is how cheap the price will be when it comes to the cost of sewing. For GRTS News, I am Aissatou Dabo.
And back to the top of the news now. After paying $10 for a cup of coffee,